I hate my life and it's way too cold. I want to be warm in the blanket fold. That's a song we came up with to stay warm. So you probably heard Texas has been a disaster the past couple days. Freezing. I was here for this. The power went out. I currently don't have water, so on, etc. But the interesting thing is, if you're here, you notice something very good that has happened, which is people are helping each other out. A lot of restaurants, and I mean a lot of restaurants, are giving away free food. All you have to do is show, and many of them fancy restaurants, they're giving away free food. They're giving away all their food. It'll say, there's a list. You can look at the list of the restaurants, and they're like, just come. We have free food. We're making free food at their own cost. They just want to help out their community and give their food to people who need it, because a lot of people, their refrigerators haven't been working. They have no food. They have no water. It's a beautiful thing to see people helping each other out, and a lot of people are doing this. This is what tough, strong people do. They help each other out, and they make it through, and they're better for it. But then there are other kind of people. There are other kind of people which are, let's just say, these people are called pusses, wieners, wusses, crybabies, doo-doo dipes, soiled dipe people, they call them. So this idiot who gets elected Senator Ted Cruz because of misinformed people living in Texas, he flies to Cancun. Let me just read this to you because this Vanity Fair article put it perfectly. On Thursday afternoon, Ted Cruz's back was against the wall after he presumably thought that no one would notice he'd boarded a commercial flight to Cancun. As Texas was in the grips of a catastrophic power outage, the senator's little getaway had become major news, and this thing was all over the place. In fact, right now, I think it's like the #1 trending thing on Google and Twitter. Definitely yesterday it was. The news being that an elected official literally abandoned millions of his constituents, some of whom were freezing to death, to go on a beach vacation. Not surprisingly, given how very, very bad it looked, some 12 hours elapsed between the time photos of Cruz and his carry-on surfaced online and when the senator's office released a statement explaining the situation. Because really, what do you say? If you're Ted Cruz, apparently the answer is, my daughters made me do it. So not only does this absolute buffoon and fool and human failure attempted abortion, I've heard. This is not me. This is what I've heard on Reddit, that his mom tried to abort him and he ducked out of the way. He dodged it and then he was born, and now we all have to deal with him. Not only does he not stick around to do all the good stuff, the tough guy and gal stuff that I was describing earlier, actually helping out their community and making things good and right, not only did he duck out, I gotta escape. He's obviously a puss, but he took it the next step of blaming his daughters on why they had to leave, they had to flee. His daughters, by the way, are 10 and 12 years old, and it's a shame that they don't have a dad. It's a shame they don't have a dad, Okay, so let's read this. Here's the statement. This has been an infuriating week for Texans. I'll read it. This has been an infuriating week for Texans. The great state in the greatest country in the world has been without power. Oh, except Mexico. Except Cancun. That's a better one right now for me. With school canceled for the week, our girls asked to take a trip with friends. Oh, man. I wonder who the real dad of those kids is. Wanting to be a good dad, I flew. This is what a person with no sense of honor or dignity looks like. I mean, it's just, I'll blame my 10 and 12-year-old daughters. So then this dolt starts trending because people take pictures of him getting on the flight and all this, and he becomes more of a joke than he already is, and he decides, I better come back. This might not go well for me. After landing back in the United States, Mr. Cruz offered a new statement with a different tone from earlier in the day, when he had tried to explain the vacation without regrets, and left the impression it might have always been a one-day trip for him. Speaking to reporters after his arrival home, he conceded that the trip was, quote, obviously a mistake, and said he had begun having, quote, second thoughts as soon as he boarded the plane to Mexico. I started having second thoughts as soon as I saw somebody take a picture of me. Here's the same guy, Ted Cruz, just a couple months ago talking about California's power outages. Here we go. California is now unable to perform even basic functions of civilization, like having reliable electricity. Uh-oh, that did not age well. I honestly don't believe that this guy is a human. I think that he's like a cartoon character of some kind, or like a fabricated sort of entity that just exists to just be as stupid as possible. Biden/Harris/AOC want to make California's failed energy policy the standard nationwide. Whoops! Oops! And what's crazy about this is that this is like the tip of the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg with this guy. Like, these are like the funny ones. And of course, the thing is, this is an Ivy League guy, right? This guy went to what? Princeton and Harvard. And you got to ask yourself, like, is he pretending? Because if you're just an idiot, if you're somebody, you're like, you were born in the middle of nowhere, you don't have an education, you don't really know what's going on in the rest of the world. Okay, then that's, you're just a product of your condition. This guy, I feel like it's even worse than just being stupid. Like, this guy is like, this is sort of like intentional. Like, this is worse. This is beyond being stupid. Like, this is something, he's reached a new type of person, which is just like beyond useless, this guy. And then with this absolute
toilets
was not even 3 months ago. Ted Cruz defends effort to secure pandemic relief for oil and gas companies, including one run by major donors. So these fracking billionaires, the same people who financed Benny Pepino, if you know that guy, they gave this guy $15 million to his campaign. He got them $35 million. He got them a $35 million emergency COVID-19 loan. I mean, this is a guy who, look, Ted, I know you watch this show. People have told me you watch it, because you want to stay, what's going on YouTube? You're useless, okay? You're beyond useless. Ted Cruz was born, it sounded like this, and his mom was like, I'm not a fan of this. Can we throw that out? She said. Ooh, that's, what a sad story that I heard this guy saying on Discord. And we're really just getting started with this guy because, meteorologists, climatologists, all these people are saying, yeah, the reason we had this cold snap in Texas is climate change. Climate change. This is not a normal thing. These winds coming down. This is climate change. And this guy, I mean, it just keeps getting worse with this guy. This guy's been a climate denier for he's one of the most public climate change deniers, this guy. Also happens to take a lot of fossil fuel money. Weird coincidence. I'm Ted Cruz. I got caught on the plane. Somebody took a picture because they have phones nowadays. I didn't think I was going to get caught. Because even though I went to Ivy League schools, I'm incredibly stupid. I'm an incredibly stupid guy. Deeply stupid. I mean, it really is he's beyond stupid. Because stupid is kind of defendable. It's like, when I was a baby, I accidentally got dunked in a bucket of stevia and it did my brain cells wrong. This guy is just like a malignant. He's just absolute
toilets.
You have a mental health problem.
Somebody needs to sit down with Ted Cruz, and honestly, this is what it is. They need to say to him,
you have a mental health problem.
And he'll say,
no.
And then you have to say again,
you have a mental health problem. You have a mental health problem.
So there we go. Stupidest person who's ever lived, I think. Ted Cruz. An absolute failure. I mean, his whole family is ashamed of him, as they should be. His daughters are like, they have to live with the sad fact that they don't have a real dad, They just have this weird kind of puss. And it's sort of, man, this is sort of sad. This is a sad situation,
This is problems I have a lot of somethings with.
Definitely not part of
The muscular class.
Not even close. So the sad thing is, the really sad thing is, guys, we live in a time of social media when everything's documented and recorded in ad nauseum, in ad turnum. And, we have a kind of a rule on this channel of the cringe herd immunity where, look, we're all going to do cringe things. And as long as your heart's in the right place, it'll be okay. You'll be on TikTok doing something stupid, doing the WAP dance, for example. And then you're like, oh, you know what? I look really dumb doing that. You might do that, but it's fine because cringe herd immunity. However, cringe herd immunity does not protect this kind of thing. You're not immune when you're doing this kind of stuff. And one day, Ted Cruz's daughters, who are now 10 and 12 or something, they're going to be old enough to kind of they're like, oh, I heard something about this from a kid at school or something. Let me look into my dad's history. And they're going to uncover all this stuff, and they're going to be like, oh, my dad is a real problem. He's a real blight on society. They'll say, I in fact do not have a father. That's what they'll say. And that's just, man, that is really sad. That is really sad stuff. One of them's in their 20s. They're like, Dad, did you blame doing an absolutely stupid, abhorrent thing that you got caught, that you obviously would get caught doing, and that you did get caught doing, and it totally blew up in your face, and then you blamed it on us? Did that really happen? Oh, and of course, America's second dumbest person, or maybe third dumbest. I don't know. We got to do the order of dum-dums. Benny Pepino has to chime in. Let's see. Here we go. Big Ted Cruz supporter Benny Pepino has to chime in. Here we go.
And meanwhile, the media are going nuts today because Ted Cruz apparently is in Cancun. Now, I will admit that this is bad optics. Of course,
I will admit that this is bad optics to blame it on your daughter and then run away when your state is freezing and people are dying and people don't have food and water. I will admit facts and logic, people poop. Watch my movies.
And so everything becomes performative. Right? The reason that AOC is a star is because she goes to immigration facilities and
Beautiful. So his boy gets caught doing something really stupid. He's like,
AOC actually. AOC. Actually, AOC.
oh, the guy you love got caught being a total coward and creep when he could have been helping out his state, helping out his fellow people. And then he blamed it on his daughters. And he's like, but AOC.
And also, I just wonder, what is Ted Cruz like? Did they expect Ted to go there with like a blowtorch and start defrosting all of the pipelines?
This is a Nirvana fallacy. This is an exaggeration. He could have been doing other things, helping out people. This is a fallacy.
I'm not a big Beto fan, I'll say that, but boy, oh boy, is he better than Ted Cruz. Here's what he tweeted out 21 hours ago. We made over 151,000 calls to senior citizens in Texas tonight. One of our volunteers talked to a man stranded at home without power in Killeen. Hadn't eaten in 2 days. Got him a ride to a warming center and a hot meal. Help us reach more people. Join us tomorrow. And then he has a link where you can help out. So yeah, that's the kind of thing you would expect somebody to do. Somebody in a leadership position to do.
But Benny Pepino does not get that because I am a deeply dumb person who has also the same connections to oil companies as Ted Cruz himself. Boop, 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 boop.
Okay, so there's a thing that people have been saying about Benny Pepino and Ted Cruz, and I don't know what, again, I hear this stuff on Reddit and on Discord and all this stuff, but they say Benny Pepino and Ted Cruz should hold hands and just kind of start walking. This is a really weird concept, but just start walking and then just don't stop walking. It's sort of like, where will they end up? Who knows? But this is what a lot of people are saying this. A lot of people are saying this, and I don't know what to think about it, to be honest. It's just social media is just out of control these days, guys.
Jesus Christ.
Toilets.
They might fall into
Toilets.
So there we go. Just an absolute doofus who can only get elected because, let's just say we're not the brightest country in the world. And you end up with this kind of whatever this is, and it's too bad. But anyway, guys, Texas, stay strong, staying strong. Texas, getting through it. And if anybody needs any help, just hit me up. And I'm proud of you. And good night. And try to stay warm. And bye-bye. Hey everybody, and thanks so much for watching this video. Like all the other YouTube and podcast perverts, I now have a Patreon. Every week on this Patreon, I'm uploading 2
exclusive
Patreon exclusive shows. They're like real shows, more produced, more edited. One of them is a behind the scenes show where I reveal all the secrets and YouTube scams that I'm doing. And the other one, I just reveal my innermost dark, cringe secrets.
and at the top level,
You can even become a producer of the show and get your name handwritten, hand art, hand drawn at the end of every episode. So if that's something that you are interested in, check it out.
on Patreon.
I'll put a link in the, what is the thing called? In the description, I guess. So thank you so much, even if you don't. Thanks for watching this video. I know it's hard to get through these things, but I appreciate you.
Got comments, questions? Want to make a song out of the drops? Go to /RM Brown on Reddit. /RM Brown on Reddit. This show would be absolute garbage without the producers: Eden Joy, Derek Stoker, Apollo Crow, Liz, Martin Lee, Chelsea G, Derek Jesus Christ Wilson, Matt Rowe, Sebastian Delgadillo, Charlotte Glass, CEO of the Muscular Class, Beth Van Diver,
I'm sorry about that, Beth. You know I love you.
Ray Anthony Cox, Kevin G. Galuski. Oh, who's that? Oh, it's Mac. It's Mac. You know it's Mac. You can tell it's him. Krill Will. And we got D-Pad Chad. Burn Dubuel. Jake T. Who's that? What? Oh, it's Carl Hochmuth. Or Hochmuth. I don't know, Carl. Tell me how to say it.
Love you.
Terza. And don't cancel me for, I'm just reading a name, okay? Tardmaster. Annihilate. And special guest, Stabster And a very special thanks to Mr. Quarth, Mika G, Mort Calypso, Roberto Vera. Thank you to these beautiful, gorgeous, muscular, soaked up, showering probably 10 to 11 times a day producers.